My name is Joe Peroni, and this is the Rise Above Project. Today I'm going to talk about Donald Trump's connection to the Manosphere and the connection to the lack of masculinity or the masculinity crisis that we're experiencing today. So Donald Trump sees himself as the ultimate victim. He's completely unapologetic for having endless amounts of grievances. Now, does he have a reason for having a lot of grievances? Does he have a reason for feeling like a victim? Well, he was a multimillionaire by the time he was 8 years old. And that's because his father didn't want to pay taxes and was funneling money into Donald Trump's account. Then Donald Trump ended up inheriting $411 million from his father. Now, if he would have taken that $411 million and put it in a stock market, he would have far more money than what he has now. But it's not really money that he's after. He's after power and control. And so he was trying to have a big name and to be able to tell people what to do and to be the master of the universe. But during this supposed that he is the greatest businessman ever, he has failed in over 20 businesses. He's been bankrupt 6 times, 2 of them casinos, which is almost impossible to do. I don't know if any other casinos were bankrupt other than his. And so in no way is he a good businessman. But his lack of self-esteem and his insecurity would never allow himself to actually think he's done anything wrong. So where does this kind of stuff start? Because he's extremely dysfunctional. Well, he had a father that never showed him any love, never showed him any care, never paid attention to him. And his father was emotionally abusive to Donald Trump's older brother. And he would make fun of him, put him down. He would make fun of him if he had any feelings. And the end part of that story is that Donald Trump's brother drank himself to death. What did Donald Trump do during that time? Well, the way he looked at life and the way he adapted was to think, well, I want to impress my father, so I'm going to help abuse my brother. I'm going to want to be on the stronger side, which is, he would say, the stronger side or the dominant side would be the one who's making fun of somebody. So he just continued along with his father to abuse his brother, and he saw that as something powerful, and he was trying to get on his father's good side. Again, completely dysfunctional in every which way. And Donald Trump never got the love from his father that he wanted. And so now he has another way to get it. It's not the love. It seems like love to him, maybe, but he knows it's not deep down inside. So what he wants just complete 100% devotion to him, complete loyalty. He wants people down on their knees. He wants people to beg him. And so what does this do? What happens is that it's impossible for him to see somebody who has any level of pain or who needs something or who's down on their luck. He looks down on them, and so he's malicious towards them. He's sadistic towards them. He can't entertain in his brain that there are real victims, because somehow that makes him less, because he needs to be the ultimate victim. And so therefore, him and the people who follow him, mostly MAGA, is basically a non-educated hate group. And so where is this connection to the manosphere and the lack of masculinity we're seeing today? Well, we're going to go through a list here, but as you can see, when you hear people talking now, a lot of these men, you don't hear them show any kind of empathy or compassion. You don't see them taking responsibility for their lives. They hate women for going to college, and then they say that society is against them. It's not against them. You can go to college too, but you choose not to. What else does Donald Trump do here that people in the Manosphere or these insecure men of today seem to really love? Is that he takes full credit for when things go right, even if he had nothing to do with it. Now, and on the other side, he blames other people and takes no responsibility for when things go wrong. I can give you 1,000 examples of that, but let me give you one just because I think it's so funny and it's in his own words. And this is the problem when you have Trump supporters who love him, right? Like I could see looking up to or loving a musician, an artist, a writer, whatever it might be, right? That's different. But when you love a politician, you're not going to hold them to task on things that they're doing wrong. So you're not going to hold them responsible for doing really stupid or hurtful things. You're just going to keep going along with it. And it's like being an abused person that's being completely okay with it. So here's an example for you. Donald Trump wrote this. I've got the date on it. January 29th of 2024. Right from Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the stock market that back then was breaking records all the time. It was at the highest level ever. And of course, Joe Biden was president. So this is what Donald Trump says. This is the Trump stock market because my polls against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win and that I will drive the market up. Everything else is terrible. And record-setting inflation has already taken its toll. Make America great again. Okay, so he wants to take responsibility for the stock market doing great under Joe Biden. Now the stock market has tanked. Now, any economist would say that the tariffs are going to cause the stock market to come down. And guess what? They were all right. We already had 16 Nobel laureates. We had Goldman Sachs, a bunch of companies and people that are all experts said that if you do these taxes, it's a tax on the American people and the economy is going to slow down and the stock market's not going to do well. We already know this, but people voted for him anyway because they don't care, because they like when he's angry and malicious and sadistic to the other people in their lives that they don't like or that other people are doing better than them. So they went along with it. But this is what Donald Trump's remark is on April 30th, about a week ago of 2025, because the stock market is getting destroyed. And we also, the economy has been slowing down. The GDP was at 2.4% with Biden, and it already went down to 0.3. So we've almost completely destroyed the GDP in only 3 months. Now, do you have to love him that much to keep saying that it's okay? Like, come on now. So, from Donald Trump, this is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. I didn't take over until January 20th. Oh, but the year before you were taking credit for when it was doing good. Okay, got it. Tariffs will soon start kicking in. And companies are starting to move into the USA in record numbers. That's not true either. Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. This will take a while, has nothing to do with the tariffs. Only that he left us with bad numbers, but when the boom begins, it will be like no other. Be patient. Okay, so the economy was good in certain areas under Biden, and now it's been cratered and destroyed since he's been in office, directly related to all of the uncertainty and all this craziness that he's doing with tariffs and everything else. And every economist would tell you that Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, but now he wants to blame somebody else. And this is part of the problem. You're going to get people in the Manosphere and a lot of these men who don't want to take responsibility for their lives, and they love a guy like this because not only doesn't have to take responsibility for anything, but he gets rewarded by being president, and he's got all this power, so they just love this. Deep down, Donald Trump knows that he's not smart. He has to know this. Yes, he went to college, but he got his college paid for. And his daddy had a lot of power to push him through college. Now, I've been to college. If you want to see my transcripts, I would have no problem. Because you're going to see that I may not have graduated top in my class, but nobody would have graduated higher than me. Because my grade point average is at a number where you couldn't have a higher number than what I had. So you could only tie me. You couldn't beat me. I have got no problem with showing anybody my transcript. However, Donald Trump has fought tooth and nail not to have his transcripts released. Why? I don't know. Did he actually go to school? Maybe, maybe not. Did he graduate? Really? Maybe, maybe not. But let's say he did. If he did and he had good grades, well then why wouldn't he release the transcripts? Because we already know the answer. He brags all the time about everything, even if he hasn't done it. So this is provable. And so tell me, if he got a 4.0, do you think he wouldn't brag about it? Do you think he wouldn't show the transcripts? Come on, let's grow up here. We understand what's going on here. So he's not smart, and he knows this. But here's the thing. He has power, and he has anger, and he has annoyance. And underneath it all, he hates the fact that he never got his father's attention. So people will get attention now, right? Like everything he wants to be not just president of the United States. He wants to be the king of the world. On top of that, he posted a picture the other day of him wearing the Pope's hat. The Pope died, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? And he's posting pictures like that. Ask yourself this. What if Kamala Harris did that? What if Joe Biden did that? Where would be the outrage? It would be incredible, right? But when he does it, all of these people in the Manosphere, or the lack of masculinity crowd who supports Donald Trump, is perfectly fine with him doing that. Even the religious people. So why, if you're that religious, and you say you're religious, and you worship Jesus? No, you don't. You worship Donald Trump, okay? And there's really something wrong with that. So Donald Trump goes along attacking religious leaders, colleges, professionals, or anyone else with a degree of expertise. And he gets away with it because of all these very low masculinity minions that he has with him, that they call themselves the Manosphere, or they say that they're masculine. It's like all these guys that are involved in the UFC. Yeah, they might know how to throw a couple of punches and stuff like that, but did any of them ever look like they were heavyweights in terms of their intelligence to you? Did any of them look like they have any empathy or compassion for people in society? It's like, since when are we holding that up? I mean, you could watch the movie Idiocracy, and people have said this a lot. Like, it was a joke. It was supposed to be a comedy. But now it's coming across as a complete documentary of Donald Trump and his minions. It's embarrassing. Do you think Donald Trump knows more about epidemiology than Dr. Fauci? Because if you do, there's something seriously wrong with you. Do you think Donald Trump knows more about economics than Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed? Because if you do, there's something really wrong with you. So what's the other connection to the Manosphere and to this low masculinity group of men? And I'm going to give you another story next week. I've had to deal with a couple, well, more than a couple. Let's say a bunch of professionals over the last week or two. Interestingly, I would say only one of them was a man. And in getting into conversations, because as a marriage and family therapist and social scientist, I ask people questions. And I was asking a couple of women questions about what they thought about the men in their age group. And they're all saying basically the same thing. They don't want to work hard. They're basically slackers, right? And every woman said the same thing. I can take care of myself. Why would I put a man in my life that's not going to help my life out any? Like, if all they're going to do is drag me down, I need another dependent. Why deal with that? I already have a kid to raise. And so with that, let me do a show on that maybe next week. But where is the Manosphere connection to Donald Trump? They're insecure, just as insecure as he is. They have low self-esteem, just like he does. They see themselves as the ultimate victims, just like he does. They have endless amounts of grievances. Now, just the fact that they have grievances like that and they're open to air them all the time just shows you the lack of masculinity that they have. Like, every real man and every real woman knows that when they sound like a complainer, when you're just complaining about the world and you're not taking action, and you sound like a person that's just, you've got learned helplessness and you have no autonomy in your life, and you know that people are going to look at you like you're emotionally and physically weak. You know this. You can feel it as the words leave your mouth. But these people don't. Because Donald Trump is that way, but was gifted millions upon millions of dollars, somehow the mouse at the top is stronger than all the actual lions. And that's what we're seeing today. So with all these endless grievances, they don't take responsibility for their lives. They don't hold themselves accountable. They connect themselves to the thought that they can have a level of power by hurting other people. We hear this all the time. I want to own the libs. I'm saying this to hurt somebody. Time and time again, you see comments on social media and they just constantly try to bully people. You ever hear Donald Trump say anything nice about people unless they're completely doing something for him? He's on this constant barrage of trying to bully people and say bad things. Completely unacceptable for a person in his power. But then again, there's so many men today that are not real men that they go along with it and they're perfectly fine with it. They're raising sons, they're raising daughters, they're married, and yet they're perfectly fine with supporting a man who is an abusive, horrible excuse as a man. Donald Trump has said many times, and he'll brag again, that he's very popular with Hispanic men and with black men. Again, that's a lie. He's not very popular with them. He is slightly more popular in those categories than other, let's say, Democratic leaders have been. But why is this? It's because they're buying into this thought that if you don't have a job, that's worthwhile. If you're looking around the world and you're seeing women who are doing better than you, that they're smarter than you, that they're buying a house before you, they know how to handle their emotions better than you, they know how to talk to people better than you, just in general, they're better people, but you think you can have a level of power by bad-mouthing them, hating on them, making fun of them, maybe being physically abusive, and that could make you strong? Those are the type of black men and Hispanic men that are gearing themselves towards Donald Trump, because they're going towards the quote-unquote machismo type of thing, where they think it's okay to do that, where I may not do well in life, but I can still say bad things to you and make you feel bad, therefore I have a level of power. And so, no, Donald Trump does not do well with black men and Hispanic men, only with the ones who are severely dysfunctional, who have a very bad outlook on life, and that, again, they have grievances and they feel like victims and they just are hurt people who want to hurt others. That's it. So again, almost 20 minutes here. Let me just sum this up real quick. Donald Trump's connection to the manosphere and the lack of masculinity also can be bidirectional. The manosphere and the lack of masculinity in this country has also given rise to Donald Trump. How many times have you seen him complain about the heroin epidemic or the opioid epidemic? Let's be honest about that. There is none. Okay? You can cry all you want about drugs coming over the border, whether you could stop it or not. That's not the point. The point is how are you going to stop the need for it? Like, why are men in these, what they call the depths of despair, which, if you look that up, men are in the depths of despair are the ones who love to vote for Trump. They're the ones who have a need to anesthetize their life with drugs and alcohol. There's not just an opioid epidemic in this country. There's also an alcohol epidemic and a marijuana epidemic and everything else. It's all there. It's because these young men are not taking responsibility for their lives, and so they use drugs to anesthetize themselves or change their perception slightly of the world that they live in that sucks, because they don't want to do anything positive to make it work. But you have a president to look at every day. You watch TV and you hear him yell and scream at people, and you think that his power is your power. It's not. And this is going to be a hard ship to turn around, because it takes work to be a good person. You're not born with it. Hopefully this has been beneficial to you in some way. My name is Joe Peroni. This is the Rise Above Project. Please subscribe and tell a friend. Thank you.